Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me for our second interview with Wise Women's Wisdom Conversations. I'm with Kym Stewart today. Kym has been a friend of mine for 15 or 16 years, and I met Kym through a women's circle that she was co-facilitating. I always loved Kym's energy and what she brought to celebration and to circle. And since then, she has moved into new business and life coaching. And she's certainly been a life coach for me. She's the lady that I call on when I get stuck on an issue. So I love her advice and her take on life and her wisdom. And I've enjoyed and been privileged to watch Kym's transformation over the last few years. So I'm thrilled that she's been able to join us today to share her wisdom and to connect you all with an amazing, wise woman in my life. So welcome, Kym, and thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thanks, Pip. Thanks for your kind words. That's lovely.
No,
Happy to be here.
Just the truth, Kym. So, like I said, I'm gathering all the beautiful, wise women in my world and trying to open up the door to the world to share in the wisdom that I've been privileged to have access to. So that's my introduction. That's how I know you, Kym. How would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers today?
Okay, so I am a life coach, I'm a healer, and I'm also an online business mentor. I've been working in the online space for over 10 years. I've been an entrepreneur for all of my working life with a couple of jobs spattered here and there. I've always believed in, working for ourselves and working in what we love. And I've, over the years, really assisted a lot of women to take their passions and turn them into their professions. I had a realization very early on that we lived in a very fortunate country and that we could really create a living doing pretty much anything we wanted to do. We just had to figure out what we loved to do and then turn that into a career. So that's really been my North Star, if you like, throughout my working career, is really making sure that I'm following my heart, I'm doing what I love. And then, I've created many businesses. Originally in the food industry, that was my very first goal, was to have my own restaurant. I'm a passionate foodie and I did that at 23. But when babies came along and all of that, we decided we needed to switch focus, for me not being the main kind of person in the business, to my then husband. And that's when we went into a family business. My family had been in garage doors for eons. And so we created a successful business that way. I had one of those moments at 40 when I literally walked out of the bush and just was hit with, I must work with women. And that sent me down the path of becoming a life coach. I trained with Jack Canfield of Chicken Soup for the Soul fame. And also at that time, I partnered up with Jane Hardwick Collins and supported her with birthing some of her work, which was, really great time. We did some pretty cool things together. So it's continued to evolve from there. In 2010, my life kind of, as I know it, fell apart. So then I went looking, what now? What do I want now? And I wanted to simplify. I wanted to be portable and I wanted to do something that was lucrative. Everything had disappeared financially and we'd worked really hard to build what we'd built. So it needed to be lucrative and also it had to be meaningful. So I just asked the universe and it showed me an online business that combined two of my passions, personal development and coaching, which I didn't even realize existed. So I was delighted. So that's one aspect to what I do. And I train a team around the world of women that are, really looking to make a difference and to live with work-life balance. The other aspect is my coaching, and it is my, passion to be connecting the dots around the transitions in life. It's through my adversity that I have grown and found my greatest strengths. And there's a lot of information in those adversities. So I'm really passionate about that, and that just keeps evolving and expanding. I knew 2020 was going to be big. I had no idea of what was coming.
Could have
and
known.
of course now, exactly, maybe some did. But of course now, what was previously a bit of an alternate kind of business has suddenly become very appealing. So my phone is ringing, my diary is completely full, all beautifully color coordinated, I might add, being a
Of course.
But yeah, it's the time where people are looking for different ways to create a living, and so I'm very excited about that.
A couple of things that you said I'd love you to expand on. You mentioned your North Star. What does that mean?
So you think about the North Star. I mean, you can think about it in, the biblical stories of, following that star to get to the ultimate destination. And that's what it is. It's a very powerful concept that I really learned in our personal development program is, your North Star. And to be in alignment in life, you've got to be following your North Star. So, when people go off and do jobs that they don't particularly like, but they're doing it to pay the bills. And we all have done that at times, me included. We do what we need to do at the time, but we know we're out of alignment because we're out of alignment with our true North Star. So for me, I have a real a North Star that guides everything that I do, and that is creating life on my terms, meaning it's got to fall into alignment, and that with what I believe, with my values, with my belief system. And that comes to, choosing medical support with, when things go bump in the night kind of thing, which they have done. Yeah. With, the kind of care that I will allow into the way that I choose to move down that wellness path as well. So it is with everything. How did I choose to negotiate my divorce? Differently to how a lot of people might do it. So again, following my North Stars and creating it the way that, is as honourable as that process can be.
Yeah, perfect. I just wanted to clarify that for people. So, and again, what comes from that is I'm trying to sort of extract some of the wisdom from you so that people can really make use of what it is that you bring. How does it feel to you when you're in alignment as opposed to out of alignment? Because sometimes I think people aren't even aware that they're not in alignment and that change might be necessary. So for you, how would you describe the feeling of being out of alignment as opposed to being in alignment with your North Star?
Yeah, beautiful. A great analogy comes to mind, actually, and I call on this a lot. For me, when we were in the restaurant, it wasn't a big restaurant, but it was a 50-seat restaurant. And when it was full, I was I don't call myself a chef, I'm a cook. I've been trained in commercial cookery, but when everything was in alignment that night, the dockets are coming in, everything's just working. The food, like everything's happening at the right time, and it's such a buzz. It feels good. It feels great. Now, if one of those plates got dropped of food on the way out, that could be enough to throw you out of alignment. So it's how quickly you can pull that back and get back into that flow again. So it's really about each person finding and noticing what's the difference. When do I know I'm in flow? Well, the hint is you'll feel pretty good.
Yeah.
It's generally about how you're feeling, and it's what you're noticing. You might even go outside and the everything around looks more vibrant. You're in a place of gratitude. You're seeing solutions. You're just seeing beautiful things. You're noticing the signs from the universe. Lots of synchronistic things are happening for you. And if you're not in alignment, you're feeling lower in your vibration. not as motivated, not as enthusiastic, you might be more tired. And the fastest way to bring yourself back into alignment is gratitude. I don't know a quicker way than that. Start, even if you've got to speak it out loud. I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for, and you'll start to feel your vibe raise immediately.
100%, couldn't agree more. There's so many examples I could rattle off where that's happened. And I can actually give a very recent example to, the power of Kym's work. Friday, I hit a bump last week, like many people are going to be experiencing right now. The business that I had up and running fell over last week. So, that was a big opportunity to sit on the floor and go, ah! And I did for about 5 minutes and then went, no, well, I can't change it. Let's move on. But Kym, this has come up. I need help moving through this particular issue. And I don't need to go into details because it applies. The advice applies no matter really what the specific issue is. And Kym was able to guide me through that and, pull me up and for me to take responsibility. And as always, be an inspiration. And so I followed her advice. And that involved a little bit of self-care too, actually. So I was having a lovely bath, and that's where the inspiration for this particular interview series or conversation series came from, as I was contemplating my next step and my next move in the world. Where do I go from here? So I'm following the breadcrumbs of this one. I've no idea where it will end or how it's all going to evolve, but for now it's happened easily within minutes. I hopped straight out of the bath and almost hadn't dried off before I'd sat down and written down the basis of this and the list of women, and already 2/3 of those have said yes. So and I'm working out the tech. It's an amazing thing. So this is the power of what Kym brings, and I've just a small example just within the last few days of being in the flow and following inspiration. So thank you, Kym.
Yeah, my pleasure. And that you've said something really valuable there, Pip, is that you took action on it.
Yeah.
So often we get inspiration, but we don't take the action, or we're trying to take action that isn't inspired. We're forcing it. So it really is about being very connected to, that going back to the North Star, going back to your why. Why do you want to do? Why you move to do what you want to do, and connecting back in with that, and then taking the action from that space for sure, because not everybody does.
Yeah, well, the action very much came from a comment that you made through our conversation, which was, I'm sure you're getting lots of downloads, you're just not paying attention to them. So when this one happened, I was able to catch that and go, oh, it's not just my mind rambling off into who knows where. This came from apparently nowhere, and seemed to be pretty fully formed as it hit my mind. So, it was your voice in my head that allowed me to, or feel more confident in taking steps. So I'm thinking that that's something that a life coach brings too, is often you're going to be hearing the voice of the person that's been helping you through whatever it is that you're dealing with, and that those words of inspiration come at just the right time so that you're able to take the action that perhaps you wouldn't have prior.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's not that there's any information that's new or that I could possibly know anything better than you could or anybody could for their own selves. It's about just pulling out some of the gems from all the white noise that goes on in our heads. And really honouring that, and just reflecting that back basically is what happens. And what I love, because I have quite a strategic aspect to my talents, I can really see when somebody shows me a picture by sharing what they've got a sense of. I can go, well, there's the steps, they just seem to get shown to me. So that can often be quite daunting, because you can have this this idea or this, and then it's like, well, how on earth am I going to do that?
Mm.
And that can be where somebody can just go, well, do that, do that, do that, and realizing you don't need to see the whole staircase.
Yeah.
You just take the next step like you've done, and then trust that it is leading somewhere, even though you don't know exactly where.
Mm. And when you say trust, for me personally, that feels so much easier to do when you know there's someone like you as backing you up. You know, that you sort of go when you get the wobbles, because we all do, that there's
Yeah.
somebody that's kind of going to go, yep, I hear you, but have you thought about it this way? Or what about? Or what is it that's really there that's getting in the way of you doing this, so that you can sort of really see yourself in a new light, because it's hard to get out of your own head sometimes.
Yeah,
You
absolutely. Agree.
really do end up in a spiral of white noise, essentially.
Yeah.
It's not helping you,
Yeah.
it's just blocking the
No.
way. So that's
Yeah.
fabulous. So given what so many people are experiencing, so many people being having to go into isolation, therefore not able to do their work, businesses shutting their doors for an as yet unknown period of time, people having to bring their children home from school and being with them full time. It's all of this is really quite new and daunting. And even if you do still have your work, perhaps having to work from home is a completely new scenario. So on top of everything else that's going on, and on top of the fact that there's a lot of fear and a lot of panic out there amongst the general population, what are some of the things that you would suggest, like just one or two things that you feel is of great value to most people in most situations at the moment that
Yeah,
you
for sure.
take on board? So
Yeah, for sure. I think the best way for me to describe that, rather than me suggest anybody that I know what would be good for anybody else, though I will say meditation, 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 meditation. And anybody that knows me will know that that is what I will tell you to do. Um, I've been meditating daily for over 25 years, and I learned to do that when my children were little. So I often joke about the fact that they have been my great teachers in that, because I learned to meditate despite having three little children. So they really were my Zen masters.
yeah,
So, but I will tell you what I'm doing during this time. So for me, I've just absolutely doubled down on everything that I'm doing. So that means for me, I'm doubling my marketing, because I feel obliged to offer what I do out there in the world. It feels like everything that I have been preparing for, through every event, even a hard event. Everything has prepared me for this moment now, and it's time, to really offer out what it is that I offer. I also am doubling my own personal development. I've doubled my meditation. I'm doing group meditations wherever, I'm invited to do that, putting that out through Zoom. I've doubled my interview rate, where I'm interviewing our local therapist to put that out into our local community. So I've increased my content. And I've increased my ability to say no. And that means for people that are well-meaning, sending me personal Facebook messages on, have you heard the latest information on this? I'm saying to them, thank you so much for your concern. Please refrain from sending me those messages. We are all intelligent beings that will source our own information the way that it serves us. We don't need to be adding to this message going around. That's how the toilet paper shortage started. We've got to calm our own farms. We've got to just chill, and also have the opportunity to say to somebody else, always kindly, there's always room for kindness, thank you, but no thank you. And that then allows that person to either get offended, which they might, or to go, oh gosh, they might just realize that they're actually adding to some of the fear and the panic. Yeah. So, it's really, I've increased my own boundaries around that. And getting out into nature. Absolutely. You know, my nervous system just feels so much better when I'm amongst the trees. So I'm doing that more often. You know, we can get out.
Yeah.
So, you know, do more of what you can. This is a fabulous time to be learning new things. There's so much available to us on the internet. You know, Mind Valley, there's Gaia, there's just YouTube. Anything you want to be learning right now, any skills that have been in you and you think, I'd want to become an energy healer, I want to learn this, you can get that without any cost on the internet. So use this time wisely. This is an opportunity, and hopefully we're all really hearing it and doing it.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. So I'm going to pick up the two things there that you've mentioned, and get you to just expand on it a little bit, because you mentioned that you learned to meditate when your children were small, and that's no mean feat, Kym. Hats off to you. So the meditation, and I guess setting the boundaries about what you allow into your sphere is a brief way to summarize your second point there. How did you go about making those things a habit in your life? Because it's a lot of people, I think, start off with a good intention and then stumble and then perhaps not get up and do it. So what was it that enabled you to continue it on, to make it the habit, that one that's lasted for 25 years, and the other obviously continuing to fine tune and develop as, you know, circumstances require it? What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, it's, you know, it's discipline, and I know a lot of people shy away from that word. It's a practice. It's, you know, it's the commitment to, you know, for me, I think about, why am I here? Why am I having this human experience? Well, clearly, I've put my hand up to help expand consciousness. That's the simplest and the most complex answer that I can come up with. So if that's my mission, then I'm going to do the best I can. I realize it's a privilege to be a human being. I'm going to do the very best I can to honor my mission. So my mission is my soul's journey, to do the work on what I came here to do. You know, for me, as a 6-year-old having experienced sexual abuse, I realize that that is my edge. It's the point for me to heal. It's the ability to heal that masculine, which is no brainer given what we're doing right now, right? It is the feminine that we're looking to nurture and to heal all of those aspects of each of us. So I'll come back to your question, because as you can see, I can go on that tangent. So to be connected to my mission, to my purpose, and a lot of people can get caught up on that. What is your purpose? Your purpose is in your heart. You'll know, have a sense of it, and it doesn't have to be big and grandiose. It's yours, and that's what matters. So being committed to that, and then allowing myself not to be perfect, because that's crazy. We are not meant to be perfect. If I don't get it, you know, done today, I will get up and try again tomorrow. I will do it again, and I'll be kind to myself. Now, I haven't always been like that. You know, I can self-berate, or in the past, I'm much kinder to myself now. So, and also becoming aware of what it did for my life. You know, by learning to meditate, I realized that I was more than my mind. That's what meditation taught me. So once you realize you're more than your mind, then you realize you can maneuver your mind. You've got control over that. It doesn't always feel that way. But the more we do that, and then over the years, it's really changed for me. I meditate for the greater good, as well as for my own well-being and to calm. But I meditate to get guidance. I check in for my mission each day. And so I use it slightly differently to when I first started. But the point is that ability to calm ourselves, to get into that place of our own knowingness and realizing that we've got so much support available to us. So it's like going to the gym. It's building that muscle. And many years ago, I heard Bernard Beckwith say, your goal is that if you had a choice between having a shower and meditating, you'd choose meditating. Well, no brainer there. Yeah, I'd choose meditating. Not on a daily basis, I mean. Yeah, not forever. Gosh. So
lucky it's not an everyday choice.
No, we'd really be practicing social distancing, right? No, so it's just that practice of it, and to start to realize and notice the difference in yourself. You know, do you start to feel that you've then got an ability to bring yourself back to center anywhere, anytime, any place? You know, you can even get good at it that you can be doing it, you know, eyes open, standing in the grocery line if need be, or wherever, you know. So definitely that. And as far as I think the other question was around the boundaries. It is about stop being nice, you know, stop being a nice person. And a nice person is, you know, somebody that is allowing themselves to be pushed around a bit because we think it's altruistic to, you know, to be a doormat. And I've certainly spent a lot of my years doing that. It's about being really connected to our own purpose and mission. And if it doesn't serve us, then it doesn't serve us. And you don't have to, as I say, always choose kindness. But it's okay, you know, to say no. It's creating that bubble for you and your family. And the more I've gone on, the more I realise how important that is. That comes down to, you know, the media we allow into our lives, you know, everything in our environment.
Yeah. And as I say, you know, I've sort of borne personal witness to particularly the changes over the last 10 years in your life. So, you know, folks out there, what she says, it's working. It's true. So she knows it's stopped. So we've kind of almost come to our time here now. So is there anything else that you'd like to add, Kym? Anything that you feel that is important for people to be hearing right now that we haven't already covered?
Really, I feel like it's about remembering that this is an opportunity. You know, this isn't doomsday. It's scary, yes. And you know, I'm not saying for a moment not to honour those feelings. And that's where meditation is really great, to process those energies that, you know, that do come up for us. So it's not about denying that. But this is an opportunity, a real opportunity to ask yourself, am I living the life that I really want to be living? And if not, why not? And if not, what do you want to do about it?
And on that note, if you are out there and you do want to do something about it, I'm going to put all of Kym's details underneath this video so that you're going to be able to find her and tap into her wisdom for yourself. So in the meantime, thank you so much, Kym, for spending your time here with me this afternoon and for being the inspiration to get me going. So as is so often the case, you've picked me up and put me back on my feet a number of times, and you know, I'm always grateful for that. So I'm thrilled to be able to be here today and to be able to share your wisdom with a wider field. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Pip. It's been lovely to spend the time with you.
And we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye, everyone.